So now our other sponsor coming up, whereas Expense Manager is all about spending money, which is the hard bit in business, isn't it? To spend money, but you have to stay in business. It's much more exciting collecting money and banking it so you can spend the money. So coming up now, we've got the another globally successful product in a product called ezyCollect, and we have the founding CEO and current CEO, and as I say, the founder, AJ Singh. And you know, this product started out really, as I say, clearing up the 60 and 90 plus columns. That's what I can do for you. But today, AJ wants to talk also about mitigating the risk in how we start our data relationships and make them quality relationships. So it's a great pleasure to have you here. AJ, over to you.
Thank you, Grant, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the user groups. Hope everyone's having a good session. And look, I'll take just about 5-10 minutes, and I really want to, keeping in theme with the topic today is about education and learning and having complete control of your business. Today, I want to talk about a topic that's very passionate to me, which is about mitigating risk with customer onboarding. You might think that's strange that I find that passionate, but I do. So let me go ahead and share my screen here and take you through just a couple of slides and an actual live demonstration of how we actually do this. So as Grant mentioned, my name is AJ. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ezyCollect. And why this topic is important to me about onboarding and how we can mitigate that risk is because before starting ezyCollect, I ran a wholesale manufacturing business myself. I was importing medical consumables and industrial safety consumables. So think of hairnets, gloves, we were doing body bags, a whole bunch of consumables. And it was a business that we grew from about 3 to 10 million in about 3 years. And, I was lucky enough to sell that business after 3 years, but there was a lot of pain in that business in terms of cash flow because, selling B2B, selling on credit is a norm typically. And, our terms was typically 30 days, end of month. I don't know what your terms are in your industry, but terms seems to be the norm. And when people get terms, they don't pay on the due date. They tend to feel that is a suggested due date, and they'll extend that. And the only way to get that paid is really to chase and to have systems in place and processes, or to be really strict with your credit control. But it's always this tussle, right? You want more sales, so you want to keep, and you want more repeat sales. So you don't want to be too hard with your customers, but at the same time, you want to be hard enough to get paid on time. But on the flip side, you've got to pay your suppliers, you've got to pay your employees before time. So there's this cash imbalance. And that's kind of the struggle I lived with when I was at ezyCollect, and when I sold it, that's why I started this business to address that problem. But what I want to talk to you about today is not the whole ezyCollect platform. It's very specifically the start of the journey. As Grant mentioned, when you first start working with a customer, the question I want to ask you is, are you onboarding new customers or are you onboarding bad debts? So if I can tell you a story, one more story. Before, when I was in my previous business, my wholesale business, the way I onboarded new customers, and I'd love to hear in the chat how you do it, is I would, here's a story. So our sales rep would run into the office and say, hey, AJ, we've got a new sale, got a customer who wants to buy a bunch of body bags, and, it's a really big order. I'm like, great, fantastic. And they're like, yep, but they want credit, they want terms. I'm like, okay, let's send them our credit application form. And so our credit application form was a one-page PDF, and it had, what is your business name? What's your address? Give me your directors in your business. Give me 3 trade references. And sometimes I would ask for a director's guarantee, but I often didn't know what that even meant, and I didn't even know how to implement that if I did grab one. But I would just get the basic information because I'd want the sale. I really want that sale. And I would send that then by fax or by email to our customer, and our customer would fill it up. It might take a day or two, in which case we're all waiting for that to come back. And when it would come back, sometimes we wouldn't read the writing perfectly, but we would try and call at least 2 of the 3 references. And often, as probably no surprise, they're always great references. And so, yeah, if you are onboarding new customers in your business, I really like to understand how you do it, because that's how we used to do it. And when we speak, and we've done a survey with 1,000+ businesses, it's a very similar process for a lot of businesses. It's manual, it's inefficient. And in my last business, we were giving people 20, 30K credit based on a very ad hoc process. It wasn't data driven. So the question I ask you, are you adding new customers or are you adding bad debt? And in our business, we wrote off about 50 to 100K a year in bad debt. And it caused me a lot of pain, and hence why I said it's a very personal topic to me. And, having credit isn't a bad thing, because it does help build trust over time, and it leads to more sales. But how do you establish trust in this new world? And how do you do it in a way that can be really data-driven? Very few businesses today use a data-driven approach to onboarding new customers. Something, I guess, related to this is onboarding is also the first experience your customer has with your brand, right? This is how they perceive, how does company XYZ operate? What do they stand for? What are the values? What is the way they expect to do business with me? And having a very professional approach that's perhaps automated, that's streamlined, that's representing your brand in the right way is a really important thing. And that's where using automation and using tools and can really help you not just mitigate risk, but also increase your branding and becoming a business that actually stands for something that you're proud of as well. And the other process with onboarding customers is a lot of friction. There's emails back and forth, or it's a fax. They're filling out a paper-based form. The writing can sometimes be hard to read. When they're signing something, how do you know if it's them signing it or if it's a fake signature? There's a lot of friction and issues in that process. And so what I want to show you today in the next few minutes is how can you actually delight your customers with an automated process that's data-driven that also represents your brand. Okay, that's what I want you to kind of walk away with today, and then we can maybe ask some questions at the end if you have any. So I'm going to flick across to a live demo. And for those of you who do not use ezyCollect, and for those of you that do, we've launched a new product, which is credit applications, to solve this exact problem. And what it does, it very quickly, I'll just show it to you, allows you to set up your application form as a digital application form in literally seconds. You put in the colors of your brand, you put in your logo, your name, your terms and conditions, your privacy policy, just literally copy paste from wherever you have it saved. Put in some intro text. Once you save that, you will automatically be given a link which you can pop onto your website as a do you want credit, click here, or you can email it to your customers. And that link can be sent to any of your customers or any of your new prospects. So what you see here is the introduction screen that says, welcome to our application process. And by ticking this box, what we're doing is not only getting them to accept your T's and C's, but we're digitally tracking their IP address. And that's a really important thing because in the world of online business that it is today, signatures are good, but what's even better is tracking their IP address. And then you know who signed it, what computer they were at, what exact location they signed it at. So you can track it back. It has a lot of traceability. And then the application form is a really nice looking application form that's completely online, and it's trying to reduce friction. As I mentioned, was one of the key things that people have. So instead of having to type in my business name, my address, and maybe looking for it and having mistakes, I can simply pop in my ABN and it'll pre-fill half the form. Right? It'll pre-fill the name, the trading name, date of incorporation, all the stuff that you need. And it helps you verify a lot of information along the way. And as I go through this, I can pop in my nature of business, the number of employees I have, how much credit limit would I actually want. And as I go through the form, I can upload documents like my driver's license. I can upload director details. I can upload trade references, any other documentation that you need. And I hit confirm. When I hit confirm, it sends that application form back to me as the ezyCollect supplier. So I'm the supplier here. And you can see some forms are currently partially completed. When they're fully completed, you can hit process application. And then what you get on the back end is all the details in a very neat and legible way. So that, there's no issues. All your trade references are here. Any documentation that you need is already in one place. And then putting on your data-driven hat, right? How do I now assess how much credit do I extend to this customer? Do I open an account for them? What is the process? Because a lot of businesses have a very wishy-washy process on opening up credit. And I'm not blaming anyone because that was how I was too. And this is an opportunity for you to put some good rules in place on how you want to issue credit limits and terms. So the first thing is, I want to validate the information that they've sent me against what's in ASIC and the ABR. So you can very quickly pop into the credit score tab, and you can see what is the information in ASIC, and then you can compare that to what they actually filled in. First, you check, is the director who they said it was, right? Because often, people don't check, are you actually a director? Now you can validate that right within the credit score tab. And then what we provide you is the actual credit score. So for those of you who don't know what a credit score is, a credit score is an independent third-party score provided by a credit reporting bureau. There are about 3 main bureaus in the country. And so we grab the score from Dun & Bradstreet, which is Ilion, the name of one of the largest bureaus in the world. And we provide you with a late payment score. So that's the likelihood of someone paying late, and a failure risk score. What's the likelihood of this business failing in the next 12 months? And it's a really useful piece of data for you to have. And if you have a high score, above high, you might say, you know what, that's something which I'm a bit concerned about. I want more information why it's high. And then you can go and view a credit report on that business. And the credit report dives deeper. And it's all about trust, by the way. This is about getting more trust in who you're going to work with. Because if you're going to extend someone credit, let's do it the right way. Let's not do it based on a gut feeling because you want the sale. Let's do it based on data. And hopefully what I'm showing you is we're making it easy for you to access that data. You don't have to go to 3 different systems, 3 different parties. It's all in one place. And the data here tells you everything about cross-directorships, PPSR claims, other court actions, company structure, everything that you'd want to know about that business so you can actually make a decision whether you should open a trade account with that customer or not. Right? You can record your references and your notes after you've spoken to the reference, and then ultimately you can finalize the application by approving the credit. And what we do here, once you've approved it, it'll publish what we call as a webhook, which is a technical term to basically say you can write that information back into your ERP, in this case MYOB Advanced, so that you're able to then have all the information put straight in there as well, so you can continue to trade with the customer. All this is really, something that if you don't do today, I really believe it should be done. And once you have a customer that's already trading with you, you will have access to the score forever for that customer. So you can pop into the customer tab of ezyCollect, and then you can always see, has that customer score changed over time? Have they become higher risk? Have they become less risk? So it's not just about at the start of the relationship, it's about the ongoing process, about the customer knowing the risk of your book, not just in terms of aging, but also in terms of credit risk. And that's something which I think if you can get that right, it'll dramatically reduce the stress and the worry you have with late payment. And in terms of MYOB Advanced, you don't need an integration to have this up and running. You can simply turn on onboarding without any API integration and be up and running in like 10 minutes. It's just because it's a standalone product that you can use. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Kilimanjaro or Enterprise or myself, AJ at ezycollect.com.au. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this. And also, I hope this adds some valuable information to your day. Thank you, Grant. Back to you.